Okay, so let's get started. Welcome to the DIY brand kit. My name's Chloe Metcalf, but you will know my brand as Manifest. Today we're going to start with our first live round. So if you're watching this on replay, I hope that you enjoy it. I hope you get a lot from it. And those of you that are live with me, I'm really excited that we can build your brand in round one and see how it'll go. So today's masterclass is all about values, and also we're going to start kind of looking down at what our core word is and discover what our kind of dream vision is for our brand. I really love this one. It's an opportunity for you to be a little creative, but it's also a good space for you to reflect and to kind of discover what it is that you are really looking looking for in your brand, and helping you to get really clear on what your brand stands for. And so that's really, really important. I will just apologize now for any outside noise. There is trades working outside, so hopefully you can't hear the trades going on. And also the room that I'm in now doesn't really have the best sound protection from my kids outside. So if you hear anybody yelling or drilling, I do apologize, but that's just what I'm working with. That's what I'm working with. So really, really excited today. We're going to start. Make sure that you have your brand kit PDF either open on a tablet, or if you want to, you can have it printed out. And that having it printed out is going to make it easier. If not, have a notebook next to you so that you can kind of work through the book as we go, and you can just answer the questions as we go. But I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to work through the book, and I'm going to give you a little bit of an intro on what values are and why they're important to our brand, and how I utilize values in building out the visual aspect of our brand. Okay, so a lot of the things that we're going to be doing with the kit is we're going to be working through it. I want to teach you guys how to utilize Canva in building out your brand. It's such an easy way to do it. It's a lot less crazy than having to learn how to actually design every element of your branding. I'm going to give you a few places that you can access some non copyrighted visuals, and also when you are working with Canva, make sure that you're paying for the pro version of it. I'm going to utilize Canva in showing you how to create a mood board, and also how to utilize it in building a basic website. So normally I love to work with Squarespace, but I recently just tried out Canva for my own website, and I think it's quite a good beginning place, and it's really easy for you to translate what we're going to do in the mood boards over onto an actual website. So looking at the brand kit, so this is the DIY brand kit. We're focusing on building a meaningful brand step by step. I think that the way of the future really is about building brands that mean something to us and that hold a lot about our core value. And if we step into building our brand from a space that's inauthentic, I think that one, it's going to affect your magnetism in bringing in the clients that you desire. Two, it's just it like I've played around with so many different brands, and none of them really felt right until I built out this particular design. And it really, really sits well for me, and it feels really aligned, and it feels very much like me. So I'm really excited to kind of tell you the backstory about how I came to that point, and that's what the DIY brand kit is going to help you do. So when you open up your brand kit, you're going to come down, you'll have a welcome. And really, truly, the main reason I wanted to put this together is to help people who have a DIY budget, who want to create a beautiful brand, don't know how to do it. This is all the stuff that I've previously learnt on how to do over years and years and years, and from learning how to design things to from a creative perspective, but also from a producer's perspective, and how to kind of make it a little bit more marketable and eye-catchy. So this is going to be a lot of utilizing Canva. I really like it for the DIY aspect, and obviously there is a free version if you want to utilize that. However, you may want to pay for some of the more beautiful fonts and graphics as well. So phase one. So today we're going to be doing phase one over the next 4 weeks. So those of you that are doing this live, each Monday, same time, 10:30, we're going to do our masterclass. And so phase one is values, phase two is the mission, and then phase three is our building of the mood boards and actually building out our actual proper branding everything. But I'm also going to do an additional masterclass, which actually isn't in the book, on translating all of that and putting it onto a website. So as for something fun. So today's one is values. So discover your values and reflect them in your brand. Now we're going to start out. We've got a little activity that runs over a few pages. We're going to be looking at discovering your values, and why we want to do that is we want to look at how you're utilizing your time and how you're utilizing your money. So the first one is, and energy, time, money, and energy. So the first one's all about time. The second one is all about money. And the third one is all about energy. Now, I really do recommend that you go over and do this twice. So the first round is all about where you are right now, like where you're utilizing these things right now. And then also you can choose to look at it through a business lens, or you can look at as your ideal lens, or where you want to be doing it. So looking at it right now, you can use, so it does say here, using one color, marking from 1 to 7, you can do it, say your current reality, and then using a different color, you can mark it for the reality you would like it to be. If you realize that those areas you don't actually want to be doing that, that's not what aligns with you. So essentially what we've got here, we've got home, family, friends, passions and hobbies, health, wealth/work, and then partner. So that would also, we've got a few different relationships here, but I think it's really important to look at these through multiple ways. Passions and hobbies, I also like to kind of refer to that as play. So firstly, we want to look at how much time from 1 to 7 do you spend connecting with home. Same with family, same with friends, passions and hobbies, health, wealth, and work. 7 being lots, and 1 being basically none. You could leave it blank if you don't use it at all. And what this is doing is helping you look at, well, where are you spending your time? Where are you showing up for these areas? And what's important to think about as you're going through this particular exercise is, well, what things in this area am I, does home matter to me? Does family matter to me? Do my friends and spending time with friends and making connections with other people, is that important to me? Are my passions and hobbies important to me? Is that somewhere that I value utilizing my time? Because when we look at resources, time, money, and energy are like the only resources that we truly have that belong to us, if that makes sense. So like, you've created your money, so where do you want to utilize that? Your time, like, we only have a set amount of time. We've got 24 hours for all of us each day, and you want to be utilizing that well. And then energy. I think when I look at energy, I think this is really important to think about when you're looking at the page with energy on it. being someone who is neurodivergent, being someone who is highly sensitive, and I really struggle spending too much time with people or spending too much of my energy doing things that don't light me up, I have to be really, really careful in how I delegate my energy. There is a theory called the spoon theory, essentially, that we have a set amount of spoons on the table, and when we've utilized all of our spoons, which would be our time and, well, it would be our energy, once you've used up all of your spoons, then you got no spoons. And sometimes that means that if you use all your spoons in one day, you won't have your spoons to use tomorrow. And so if you utilize all your energy in one day, sometimes you need a couple of days for recovery. So looking at these things, it's really important to go, well, hey, maybe I'm spending too much time at work. Maybe I'm too overcommitted to that. Now, obviously, we're doing a brand building here, and you probably do want to be spending time at work and building that out. But when it comes to looking at it from a brand perspective, knowing what your core values are actually going to help you work out like what is a part of the mission. Like what is it that as a brand, why does this brand matter to you? Why does like the mission of the brand matter to you? Because obviously you guys are entrepreneurs, you're business owners, you're wanting to make something that matters in the world. It is an opportunity to leave legacy. What is the legacy that you're going to leave? What is the brand legacy that you are leaving? So, for instance, with my branding, something that I really want for people is to be able to be expressive and to feel at home in that process of their expression. Obviously, with my branding, if you look at the first page, my logo, well, it's on most of the pages, my logo has a sun and a house. To me, the sun represents expression and lightness and joy and creativity, and home to me is so important on here. Like I spend literally, I would say like 95 to 98% of my time at home. Home is such an important thing for me. I homeschool my children. Family is also up there in a really high level place, but passions and hobbies to me is really, really important as well. The other thing that's high in the health and high in value to me is health, and so that's one of the reasons why the lemon and the sun and like the life that's coming off of the logo kind of represents for me. So so what I recommend during the next week between now and you doing the next module, that you take time to really reflect on this. It's not something that you have to rush through. Just take your time and really think about, where am I spending my time and how much do I really want to spend with that? Do I want to be spending more time at home? Do I want to be spending more money on my home so that my home feels good? Something that I've really learned over the last couple of years is the value of me spending time at home to declutter and make sure that my home space feels good. And I'm sure that as we went through the global pepperoni, that most of us spent so much time at home, and so we realized the value of our home space and our personal environment. So also looking at wealth, it's like, well, how much time do you realistically dedicate to your wealth and wealth building? Do you take time each week to look at your budget? Do you take time each week to connect with your money in a way that is positive and wealth building, or do you completely like put it to the side and not even connect with it? The same with your partner. If you're in a relationship or you're seeking a relationship, like how much time and energy do you utilize on date nights? Do you take time to connect, or as my husband likes to call it, we like to parallel play. So we will be in the same room together, and he'll be on the computer doing something, or I'll be reading a book or like painting, and that's our way that we like to spend time together, is like being together and doing our own thing. We just find that really comforting. And then also looking at, money. Do you spend money on going out for coffee with friends? Is that something that you like to do? Is it something you want to do more? Maybe you want to go and have experiences with friends or family. I probably should have put travel on there, but yeah, I mean, you could put that under passions and hobbies. But is that something that you want to do? Maybe you like to travel for, like with your family, looking at that as well. So pretty relatively self-explanatory. If you've got any questions, feel free to ask them. Okay, so now we're moving into the style check. I love this one. This is really, really fun. This is an opportunity for you to start the process of building out a vision mood board. So we're gonna be doing two types of mood boards throughout the process of the DIY kit. The first one is a vision mood board. And then the second one will be your brand mood board. The difference being your vision mood board is kind of like the vision that you have for your brand, what you hope people feel. Maybe there are places that you really, really vibe with that you want people to, like, that you want to infuse into the branding. So these are some suggestions that you can pin on there to help you kind of work through that. So looking at it, so I'm talking about Pinterest. If you don't know what Pinterest is, you're living under a rock and you really got to check it out. But Pinterest is essentially a tool that you're able to pin things on and use it. It's essentially a search engine, and you can look up images. If you don't want to do it that way, feel free to get a piece of like cardboard and some magazines and create your own vision board on like what kind of the lifestyle of your brand is, or the vibe that you want to give out with your branding, but also maybe a little bit. Sorry, that's a really loud drill. There may be a few things that you really, really vibe with that you want to be infusing into that, or that really means something to you. And that will really, really help you in the process of discovering what your overall vision is. So I'm going to show you the mood board that I put together for the DIY brand. And I'm also going to show you a couple of other ones that I have done with previous clients so that you can kind of see the direction on how to kind of build one out. So we've got, where is it? They're all going to show me. Okay, so, oh crud, I shut it. Okay, here we go. So this is Angela's mood board. Angela, her branding was all about, we eventually came to finding, and we'll look at it shortly, is a core word on how we felt it came about. Now, I really love to tune into the energetics of when I'm working with brands, and I can really feel and flesh out what the mission is of the brand when I tap into the person and the overall essence of the business. I truly believe that every brand kind of has its own life force, and that's what I tune into when I'm working on it. So I'm able to pull on these things that like really inspire the person that's the entrepreneur or the business owner, and then also tune into the business and be like, hey, like what direction do you want to go? Like what's the life that you want to live as a brand? And bring those two worlds together. So the beautiful thing that came up in the process of working with Angela was the word oasis was our like core word. But after she created her mood board and pulled out a few of these beautiful, so she picked these beautiful images of like cozy, kind of almost desert-esque colors. This beautiful light, these beautiful feather textures. So there was this real lightness, but also a warmth to it. And so also that kept coming in, that was coming directly from the branding, was this energy of the cactus. And it wasn't necessarily the cactus itself, but it was like the coloring of the cactus's kind of skin. So a lot of these beautiful soft textures, even looking at mushrooms and woven fabrics. And even when you look at, if you look at the texture on these like mushrooms and you look at the texture on the sand up here, you're able to see, I can't point to it, up here, you're able to see the textures in the waves on the sand. So we really, really pulled from a lot of these energies, also discovering it felt like the cactus was coming up as like a totem plant for it, which was all about getting sunshine, being patient through dry spells, conserving your resources, and Angela's business is a hypnotherapy company, but they also do meditation and really helping people to find their own inner oasis and to kind of rest and reset and digest. And I think that kind of represents the oasis to me, and that's why we kind of pulled that out. And so this was a board of things that she felt really cool to connect with. Now, when you're creating your mood board, cool thing, once you've pinned a few pictures down the bottom, you'll go over here and you'll find some more. It says find some more ideas for this board, and you can click on that and it'll bring up some more ideas. Now, don't do that. I just made a board. Where did we go? Okay. Chloe manifests the DIY brand vision board. Okay. So this was kind of my, hi Lisa. So I'm really, really been building out this DIY vision board so that you can really see where my kind of thing, and what was kind of cool, because like when I started to put it together, I was like, oh, it makes so much sense, because I really love, like, I love cottagey things, but a big thing that I learned in the process of pinning for my brand was that I have a love of kind of a bit more upscale imagery and upscaled kind of fonts and textures, and I like things that are really, really beautifully like put together aesthetically. And so this is what the mood board kind of came together. But one of my favorite things in the whole wide world is this golden light that happens every day. And so looking at like see how golden that is and how the light shines through. So for me, the sun was such an important part of my branding, based off of that. It's just a vibe that I want people to feel. Like when people are connecting with me, I want them to feel like they're like connecting with the warmth of the sun. And also I really love the idea of like, the DIYing is kind of like making lemonade out of lemons. And that's what I feel very much that I'm able to help people with. So this is where the mood board is. And then I ended up with taking these elements, and then eventually it came down. I'm so sorry about all the drilling. Eventually it came down to this. This is what my end mood board result was. And my core word that I've kind of got going on is morning, because it's like morning time at home when the sun just first rises and you get that like really golden light coming through, or even sunset, but like morning because it feels a bit more fresh than at sunset. So that's kind of where it kind of came from. And to me, black and white imagery is very upscale. And yeah, so at the end, you actually have a template at the end of the book where you can put all these together, but we're focusing on building out your pin board. So you're looking at images that really feel good to you, that really light you up, that make you feel connected to your branding and to your mission and to your values. That's what you're trying to pull together here. Like what feels good to you. For me also, like I actually really love cooking. I forgot that I loved cooking so much, and then we moved into our new home, and now that I've got a kitchen that's functional, it's like my love of cooking and I would call it like potion making has come back. And I love this idea of like kind of like a cocktail. I don't drink alcohol, but like mocktails or like a beautiful lemonade really, really caught me in. Also, this beautiful, I love this plan. Like it's a what do you call it? Like a plan for this little cottage. I love the idea of like a black and white print of a cottage, and then having the sun rising behind it. And obviously, this is a bed. I mean, this is like a dream bedroom for me. I absolutely freaking love this one. Which is fun because I get to design my bedroom soon. But yeah, so this is kind of an idea on what you can do and put together, and yeah. So let's move on to the next bit here. Hopefully you guys are tracking along okay, and I'm not going too fast. But yeah, this is essentially building out your vision board, mood board, is really going to help you get very clear on the frequency of your energy that you're wanting to put out to the world, the frequency of yourself. It's an opportunity for you to really just step into a space of clarity in the process of discovering what your branding is. And then once we do get to the next session, if you guys are in the group, I'd really love for you to share your pins if you feel that you want to, and I can help one of you go through the process of actually fleshing out some ideas. The next part here, we've got a little bit of an opportunity to have a look at your style, likes and dislikes. And I think this is really important too when you're doing this, because it helps you clarify what, there's nothing worse than a branding that's too flat. And I love to work with imagery that creates texture and depth when building out a brand and a visual space online, because I mean, screens are flat. They're very obviously, like, they're like a piece of paper, and we want to create depth and dimension for people when they're coming online. So what I really loved doing with the DIY kit was putting these borders and stuff that have that little bit of texture and depth to it to just, freshen the joint up. So take some time to sit down and feel out what things that you like and you dislike. So maybe in your likes and dislikes, maybe you love like the warmth of the day, so putting warm, or maybe you really like feeling cold, or you like doing cold plunges. Maybe have a look at like what styles you like. So online there's heaps of great like interior design or fashion quizzes that you could do. Maybe I'll find a couple of them and put them in the group so you guys can check them out. But hopping on and actually kind of going, well, am I more of a boho kind of gal, or do I like heavy metal or punk outfits or gothic outfits? But even like in the variation of punk versus gothic, even though we're dealing with a lot of like usually like blacks, your punk stuff is heading more towards an industrial type feeling, whereas gothic energy has got its own beautiful intricacies. Like, see how the difference is, even if we're dealing with the color black and dealing with more of a black aesthetic, how different those feelings are going to come from. Are you a pair of ripped jeans, or are you a beautiful black lace skirt? Like, what vibe are you going for here? Even looking at boho, there are minimalistic boho type things. There are, even though bohemian tends to be like more maximalist, you're also going to be looking at the fact that there can be a boho or bohemian aesthetic that can be more minimalistic. So having that opportunity to look at your likes and dislikes when it comes to style, and looking at color and texture. Do you like more fluffy textures? Do you like more feathery textures? Do you like more of a sandy texture? Like, what vibes do you really like? Do you like silky stuff? All of these things are just helping you kind of oscillate and clarify what your branding is going to look like, what it's going to feel like. And being that I am a very sensitive person to feeling textures and all of those things, I can look at a picture online and get a vibe from it. If I look at I don't know why, whenever I look at matcha, even though I've only like tasted it once in my life, I automatically like look at the color green, in a powdery green matcha look, and I can taste the earthiness of it, like that. Like, it's like that instant memory. And I'm sure that comes along for a lot of people. Same as like if you see a picture of a frosty morning, like you can almost feel that sensation internally, like an internal memory of like a frosty, foggy morning. You can feel that. We know what that feels like. So those things all give off vibes, and taking time to write out your likes and dislikes on this list, you got to help you get really clear on what kind of vibe and feeling you want to give when you're building out your brand. All right, so now we're going to come down to the core essence, which is our last page for today. And I cannot wait to see how you guys all go with this. Make sure that you do share it in the group and let me see how you travel along. So, what is your core essence? Below, take a moment to feel into who you are at your core. Feel free to flow and create and journal about it and work out what you are and what you're here to bring to the world. Example, you might be here to be a storyteller, a creative, a healer, a visionary, a teacher. Once you find your core and how that comes through in your particular set of gifts and talents, tell us what is the path for your branding. And I think this is such a really powerful question to be kind of tuning into, because you obviously have a business that you are working on, that you're creating. But sometimes by doing this, you're going to also take the skill set that you have and maybe you'll find a niche to it that kind of helps you give a bit of a specialization in what you can offer people and what you can offer to the world. So being that I'm a multidisciplinary creative consultant, I'm able to help people on multiple different ways, with multiple different things, not just doing branding, but I help with, reading and coaching and design and just all kinds of different insights, as well as, helping them to get really pumped and excited. But I bring my magic, and to me, like, that golden sunlight is my magic, and that's one of the reasons why that's in there. But once you get down, like, what is the core word? Like, what is the core word that you want to bring out from knowing as your core essence, looking at your core essence, looking at your mood board, looking at your values, bringing all of that together. I want you to take some time and get really clear on, well, what is your core word? What is the vibe you want to bring as a brand? And so at the minute, mine's morning, but I'm still oscillating and working that one out, because this is not on the, so if you're currently doing the live, I'm going to resend this one out, but the core word isn't in that book, so I've just added it this morning. But I'd love to know also in the group, what is your core word? What is the one real vibe that you want to bring as a brand? And so a really great word, so the word we used for Angela's mood board was oasis. I've worked with people who, I'll show you these other mood boards that I've worked on. So this was Angela's one, which is Oasis. I worked with Sultry Evolution, which is an incredible witchy woman, and she creates custom ritual candles. So ritual was the word that came up for her. I've worked with the Academy, and the Academy has so many different facets and really, really quite different in all of the branding depending on the groups that they're running. And so temple was the word for me that came up, and it was very much like a sandstone temple. So depending on your branding, depending on what it is that you're bringing out to the world, the other word I probably could have gone with is fresh, but I'm still working on the word. So it's okay if you don't get it straight away. But I'd love to know before the next one, what was the core word that came through for you for your essence? Because that core word is something that you can really build your entire branding around, and what the mission is. And also, I know these are a lot of questions, but as we get into the next point, which is the mission, those core essences, those core values are going to most likely start to reflect in our mission that we have for our business and the mission that we're doing. But it's also going to help you clarify even further on what your branding is, who it is you're here to serve, and what you really care about in your branding. And all of this is going to really, really take even more sense as we start to build out the brand. So that's all for today. Thank you guys so much for being with me on the live. Hopefully you have received a lot to think about and to process over the next week. And I cannot wait to see how you go. Feel free to comment in the Facebook group And if you've got any questions, I'm happy to answer them. But I would also really, really love to see your mood boards. I'd love to see your core word. And yeah, good luck. I'll see you all next week, same time, same place. And next week we are working on the mission, creating your mission statement. We're also working on a vision statement, which are similar but different. All right. I'll see you all next week. And thank you so much for being here.